Jack London is well known in American literature for both being in the middle of controversy and for having his fair share of fame. Today, I will be giving you insight into the life and writing of Jack London, the author of such works as The Call of the Wild, White Fang, and The Sea-Wolf, among many others. John Griffith Jack London, born John Griffith Cheney, was born in San Francisco on January 12, 1876, to Flora Wellman and either John London or William Cheney. As a teenager, London traveled the country while doing various odd jobs and labor work, including working on a sealing ship in the Pacific, which may have influenced one of his works, The Sea-Wolf, which tells the story of a gentleman from San Francisco who is shipwrecked in San Francisco Bay and is picked up by a sealing vessel in the Pacific with a ruthless captain named Wolf Larsen, who mocks him for not having worked a day in his life. At the age of 19, he returned to San Francisco to go to high school. While in high school, he learned about socialism and became a follower of it. In 1897, he spent the winter in the Yukon, where there were rumors of gold in the freezing Canadian wilderness. This setting would eventually serve as the backdrop for two of his most famous works, The Call of the Wild and White Fang. These two stories tell both similar and different tales. The first, The Call of the Wild, tells the story of Buck, a dog who lives the good life in Southern California, who is then sold to gold hunters in the Yukon to do heavy labor with a lot of dogs. Buck is forced to adapt to the harshness of his new environment and soon embraces the ways of his ancestors. In White Fang, a wolf-dog hybrid named White Fang comes into contact with humans and must learn the ways of his domestic descendants in order to survive in his new environment. London first got married in 1900 to Elizabeth Madden, with whom he had two daughters. They did not marry because they were in love. They married because they were friends and they felt like they would produce good children. In 1904, after months of strain on their marriage, the couple divorced. A year later, London married Charmaine Kittredge, and they remained together until the day London died. Jack London died on November 22nd, 1916, at his ranch in Glen Ellen, California. The official cause of death was uremic poisoning, although some people claim that it was a suicide. Jack London was a novelist, short story writer, journalist, and essayist. In addition to his works that he wrote to promote socialism, he is most famous for his novella The Call of the Wild and novel White Fang, which were both written from the point of view of dogs and took place in the Yukon during the Klondike Gold Rush. He is also famous for his novel The Sea-Wolf and the short story To Build a Fire. His writings often drew upon personal experiences, and his writings about animals were inspired by the works of Charles Darwin. In The Call of the Wild, White Fang, and The Sea-Wolf, the main theme is adaptation, whether to a more hostile environment or to a gentler environment. The Call of the Wild and White Fang stand out in American literature, as they are two stories that use animals as the main characters, and they were written in the midst of a controversy known as the Nature Fakers controversy. During this time, many authors were writing nature-themed stories, but many blurred the line between science fact and literary fiction. Even then U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt condemned the Nature Fakers, as they were called, as he was an outdoorsman and did not view the Nature Fakers to be actual outdoorsmen who knew what nature was all about. While Jack London did not earn any awards for his works during his lifetime, he has been honored in several ways. Along the border between Alaska and British Columbia, there is a mountain named Mount London in his honor. In Oakland, California, there is a square called Jack London Square, also named after him. And in the Great American series of stamps, Jack London was honored on the 25-cent stamp. I hope you have enjoyed my insight into Jack London's life and writings. I personally recommend The Call of the Wild, White Fang, and The Sea Wolf, but these are just 3 of Jack London's many works. You never know what you're going to find with such an amazing author. Thank you, and good night.